Evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to Public Works and Planning Committee. First on our agenda, we'll approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I have reviewed the minutes. I did not find any mistakes or need to change. If everyone else agrees, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Held out. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public comments. We have one person. That's Carl Burning. Speaking on the transfer station. Sir.
On Herschel-Hudson Road in Lascassas, Tennessee. I'm a member of the Rutherford Neighborhood Alliance. My comments are about the transfer stations. State mandates that each county is responsible for all their own solid waste. Here in Rutherford County, we have Murfreesboro, which helps shoulder the load. They have curbside pickup, while we in the county have convenience centers. Both the county and city are working to construct transfer stations. The cities will be on Butler Drive, while the counties will be on Jefferson Pike. What we've learned through Darren Gore, the city's representative, is that they have a minimum amount of tonnage to make their project feasible. They, I believe, are canvassing the commercial businesses to determine if they can maintain their minimum monthly capacity. The city has been besieged by their concerned citizens about their transfer station location, traffic congestion, odor, and safety. My proposal to assist with this is that this committee could draft an initial interlocal agreement for the county mayor to present to the Murfreesboro city mayor to empty our convenience center tonnage into the city's transfer station in at least the amount to meet their minimum needs. This should come from our southernmost convenience centers. And if need be, the city's trucks in the north end of the county could empty into the county's transfer station. These swapping of garbage destinations could reduce mileage and time for each entity and save the same tonnage of waste being trucked through urban routes. If this committee wants to follow such a garbage route, I would propose it be initiated early enough to ensure that the transfer station modifications, if necessary, can be done in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Next, we have the Planning and Engineering report. Doug Mossey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, or well, evening, I guess, everybody. Doug DeMasi, County Planning Director. Don't have a whole lot for your consideration today. The Planning Commission did not meet at their night meeting in the month of October. So we didn't have any rezoning requests that are coming before you next week. I know that depresses a lot of you. You like seeing me every month, but that's okay. You'll get me next month. But I do have the available lot inventory on your iPads for your review. As you can see on that inventory, we are at 878 total available lots. Again, that's in the unincorporated area. Those are lots ready for permitting. That's up a little bit from last month, about 20 lots. Oddly enough, that's the same number of lots from just a few months ago, 878. So it's been kind of just waving along, really, is all it's been doing. We're getting into that time of year where we're starting to see less and less permit activity and less just overall submissions to our office. That's not unusual this time of year. But anyway, as far as the peak lots, earlier it's been pretty much on a downward trend most of this year. It actually, until this month, had gone down several months in a row. But this month it went up just a little bit. We had a larger section of a subdivision be recorded, so that's kind of what the change went up just a little bit. So other than that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor? All opposed? Building codes report, Tanya Bell.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tanya Bale with the Building Codes Department. And I am going to first present the permit summary for the month of October. Building Codes issued a total of 325 building permits for the month of October, and 30 of those were single-family dwellings, for a total revenue of $142,007.10. Like that, do you want to know any previous history, or I had last month's? It looks like single-family dwellings were down a little bit from last month, and so was overall permits. So, development tax. For the month of October, we collected school facilities tax. We collected $615,570 in school facilities tax and $4,500 in development tax. The $615,570, we had a apartment complex in the city of Murfreesboro. We also had an extended stay hotel in the town of Smyrna. So that's why that number's increased a little bit this year, or this month. That brings our total revenue for school facilities tax and development tax to $2,308,952.50 for this fiscal year. And if nobody has any questions with that, I will move on to zoning enforcement. We had 197 inspections in the month of October. That concludes my monthly report.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, and I have one more thing. Hopefully this month it's on your iPad. Oh, gotcha. We were making up for last month. We just want to make sure you had it. So this is the interlocal agreement between Rutherford County and the city of Eagleville to perform their building inspections. As most of you know, we've been doing the city of Eagleville's building inspections for quite some time, for a long, long time with no agreement, just we were doing them for them and then billing them for them at the end of the month. Early 2016, they wrote and I say they, my predecessor and also the current city manager's predecessor in Eagleville wrote an agreement that was about a half a page long that just covered basic fees for building inspections. So because it was both of us, there was some not confusion, but misunderstandings, miscommunication on what exactly that agreement included. So this agreement the purpose of this agreement is to better define exactly what Rutherford County will be doing for Eagleville and how much it will cost them. So I don't know if anybody had a chance to read through it, but I'd be glad to answer any questions. It's very similar to what we were doing. It's just detailed. And
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Dodd.
Glad I put my name tag up, right? I didn't read every single legalese, but what I did read was it looks really solid, especially if there's not a permit pull that Eagleville manages, you don't take the call. I like that. I like that, all that language.
Correct.
So
yes.
there's no dead-end calls. You don't have to go do any legwork.
Right. If they haven't got a permit issued by the city of Eagleville, we won't touch it. We refer them to the city of Eagleville and let them get their permits, their approvals and everything through the city of Eagleville. And we strictly do the inspections. We then in turn turn that inspection, pass or fail, over to the city of Murfreesboro so that they can maintain their own records.
The city of Eagleville.
So, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
city
yeah,
of
yeah.
Eagleville, yes, sorry.
You look like you stay out of the right-of-way stuff.
Right-of-way
Your
stuff,
drainage and
yes.
curbs and ditches and all that.
Property maintenance, zoning enforcement, we strictly do building where it applies to construction.
Do you keep the fees that are listed on the chart?
So they issue their own permits, they charge their own permit fees, we charge per inspection, and we bill them at the end of the month.
And y'all get 100% of the fees on Exhibit A, goes straight to us, to your department? The below-grade plumbing fee of $50, it goes to the Rutherford County.
General fund, yes.
Fees do cover our cost.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
has the city of Eagleville had a chance to look over this already?
They have, yes. They were supposed to take this before their city council, on the 26th of October. And somehow there was some miscommunication between the two attorneys, between her attorney and her city manager, and it didn't go through. So it is going this month, and I talked to her today. I'm talking, when I say her, I mean the city manager of Eagleville. And we agreed that if this passes both administrations, that we would have an effective start date of January 1st, 24, just to make everything clean.
Will these fees cover all your cost of servicing Eagleville?
They will. We do our inspections around the city of Eagleville. Rutherford County goes right up to the city limits of Eagleville. So we're out there for, the inspector that's in that area is out there, doing work that's assigned to Rutherford County. So the fees that we have in place will more than cover what he has to do inside the city limits of Eagleville.
James?
I'd make a motion to approve this to move forward with the caveat for any adjustments that the city of Eagleville and our attorney make adjustments as needed.
Yes.
Comes through.
So
what I'm saying is if they come through when it finally gets to their council and they need some wording changed, I'd be moving it forward contingent on what needs to come through. But as it sits, yes.
Sure. I will add that both the city of Eagleville's attorney and Nick, our attorney, worked on this agreement with us. So it's been through both of them, and we've went back and forth with some wording, and this was agreeable to everybody.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move this forward. Caveat that our attorney will
With the
Make
understanding
adjustments
that
if needed.
as it is, that the city and the county still agree as we're presented today.
I understand, yeah.
questions? All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think since this involves money, you need to do a roll call vote.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Cush?
Aye.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Highway Department report. Mr. Brooks?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. We have a couple of things for you this evening. They were approved at the Road Board meeting yesterday unanimously. The first one I think you have will be the salary increase. So we'll start with that. We'll have to do them both independently. So the salary increase, this would be for a across-the-board raise for our Highway Department employees and our Public Works Department employees that would go into effect January the 1st. and it will be the same amount for all of them. This, what you see, includes their the increase of their salary as well as increase to their benefits accordingly. It total amounts to, between the Highway Department and the Public Works Department, $96,533 from our fund ending balance into the respective line items in our budget. So the reason you're seeing this now, as opposed to just in our, annual operating budget that we present to you for our July 1 start date, is because we like to see, well, two reasons, two big reasons. One, because we like to see where we finish up and how much money we're able to put into our fund balance at the end of the year. And the other reason is because we're trying to, retain our employees, and in doing so, we need to try to at least keep pace as much as we can with inflation that they're all looking at, and that we're all looking at. So this is an effort to do that. This really doesn't, if you look at inflation and what cost of living is, this really doesn't gain them any ground, but hopefully it will keep them level.
This is, I assume, is all within your budget.
Yes, sir.
No additional cost this year to the county at all.
No, sir.
The other question is, why the first of the year instead of like the counties? Got your budget set up from January 1st instead of July?
No, sir. No, sir.
1st?
No, sir. Our fiscal year starts July 1, just like everybody else's. However, by the time we have all of our balances done, but our revenue collected, it really takes till right along now for us to know how we've actually finished up, with our gasoline sales tax collections, and it really takes us this long to figure out what we're going to be able to make sure that we're putting into our fund balance. So that's why January 1. Our fiscal year is the same, July 1. Yeah, they got a raise in July as well. So this is not, this is in addition to that.
And I don't have a problem with them getting another raise, as long as that's within your budget. You're not coming back to us.
Right.
What percentage of raise will this create for them?
It's really not a percentage. It's just $1 an hour across the board. Yes.
And maybe Robert can help me answer this. How will this affect next year's budget if it's in money this year, but moving forward?
His budget's actually separate from ours. Not going to affect us until you get into maintenance of effort change. So that could, most of ours is like the off the road, the highway fund that we initiated work off the road.
Right.
So that's
For
where
the Public
most
Works
of our
Department.
costs would come into, and what you're doing right now shouldn't affect that.
That maintenance of effort that you're speaking of. That's correct.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion to approve and second. Further discussion? Call.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Cush,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you all. They thank you as well. The next thing you should see is an agreement between Rutherford County and the town of Smyrna for a sewer line installation in a county right-of-way. And this would be to serve a property that it's in the town of Smyrna, but the pumping station that they need to get this tight line to has a section of county road between two town of Smyrna municipalities. So what this does is put the maintenance of that line into agreement that Smyrna will maintain it perpetually. So Nick Christensen, our county attorney, and Jeff Peach, town of Smyrna's attorney, have had a lot of back and forth on this, and everyone agrees on this. It will go to Smyrna City Council as well later this month. But the reason you're seeing it because it will require the mayor's signature. So it has to go to the full commission for their approval for the mayor's signature.
Could you tell me where, because I'm not familiar with the this development, where it is exactly?
This is off of Amityville Road, 102. It's in Inez subdivision, and it's on Meadowlark Drive.
Yep, I'm familiar with that area. I got you
Yeah.
now.
And yeah, so it's.
Are they annexing this street at all, or
No.
are they just trying? We're just
No, they're just
connecting two lines.
They're just putting a public utility in a county right of way is what they're doing.
So what exactly will this agreement do? They will have to maintain the road in that area? Or is that just during the construction phase?
Well, they will have to obviously install and then repair, and then they're going to overlay that section of road where this installation is going to happen, and then moving forward, obviously any maintenance to that line or any maintenance that comes up from the installation later on, then they'll be responsible for.
You're talking about maintenance of the road itself?
Yes, of the road itself.
This is just covering damage. In case they damage it, they have to fix it.
That is in here. However, this also covers the responsibility of the installation of the line and removing us from any liability from anything that would happen while that line's being installed. It's really not as complicated as some other sewer lines. This is a 4-inch tight line. It will require probably an 18-inch wide trench, 24 inches deep. So it's not really as difficult of an install as some gravity sewers would be. Yeah, there will be some obviously there'll be lane closures while the work's going on, but there won't be any overnight lane closures or anything like that.
So we still maintain the road. It's still a
Yes, the
county
road-
road.
yes,
This is just
that is
utility
correct.
and repair of the road if they
Correct.
have to.
Yes, sir.
Todd?
Have you done any of these previously for some of the commissioners that are new? Have you done some similar to this on Asbury Lane or Asbury
There
Road?
are similar agreements that exist with the city of Murfreesboro over in the Asbury Lane, Asbury Road area where there was some really deep gravity flow sewer and as well as storm sewer that was also really deep to get the water out of that area. It's a lot bigger, but the Southwest Loop Agreement, some of you may have heard of, when they built some of Veterans Parkway, it's similar to those agreements, very similar.
I'm worried about how it might affect the community out there, and if an issue arises and they already necessarily don't know who to contact and get bounced around in some circles until they finally start getting it worked. I'm curious, where is the closest line for Smyrna at that point? Why are they not wanting to annex the road front up to that instead of do this? We cover underneath, we cover the top, that split.
I feel like
what's the benefit for us, I guess?
Well, there's really no benefit for us other than just being, good neighbors, so to speak, with the town of Smyrna. But I feel like the reason that they're not, it would just be an annexation of the right of way. We can't, we can't expect the people that live up there to allow their homes to be annexed into Smyrna for, no real benefit. So it would just be the right of way. So it would create a really odd town limit line. I looked at that.
Bush?
Mr. Chair, based on the details of the agreement that Superintendent Brooks has laid out, I would make a motion to approve.
Motion. We have a motion to approve. Second. Call for the roll.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Peeb,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Cush,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All I have for you tonight. If there are no more questions, then thank you very much.
Wait. Greg, is there any update information on the Compton Road and 96 Highway project?
Not that I'm aware of. There's really nothing new that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
And next on the agenda, we have a solid waste report. Wagner? Director Wagner?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Bishop Wagner. I'm your Solid Waste Director. Chairman. I'll start with my reports. Since the September report, Rutherford County Landfill accepted 198.2 tons of brush for a revenue of $5,932. We also managed 2,582 tires for a revenue of $2,359. The total combined revenue for the month of October was $8,291. Rutherford County Solid Waste disposed of 2,664.49 tons of waste from all sources in the month of October. 2,160.46 tons were from our convenience centers and 504.03 were from our schools. We recycled 313.09 tons from all sources. That's a diversion rate of 11.75 for October. I want to make a note that we anticipate that the brush totals will start to go down for the season now that we're out of landscaping season. This next section that we have here is kind of giving you a snapshot on where we're at with our single stream recycling pilot or program that we've been going on up to this point. So let me give you some numbers here for you. In October, fuel costs rose to around $4.15 per gallon. This estimate does not include the cost of truck maintenance and repairs, tires, traffic delays, driver benefits, administrative support, etc. Tipping fees in our old system would be similar to what is outlined here as the benefits in reducing load count by compacting the same material. We are achieving about a 1 to 7 compaction rate, which means that where we carried 64 loads of materials to Waste Management River Hills, the old system would have required about 384 additional recycling trips. This represents 13,824 miles, 768 engine hours saved, and including reducing engine wear and maintenance. The recycling rates have increased at centers with the introduction of single stream recycling in the compactors. As citizens learn this process, we expect diversion rates to rise even more. Total recycling activities for the month of October after tipping fees, the tipping fees were $12,743 for the month. When you take into these other factors, the fuel savings, the cost savings that happen from man-hour cost, we ended up coming to the good $27,100.84 using this program. So I bring this up because my next one of the next things on here, as you see in your iPads, is a budget amendment that is where I'm moving money from one line into the recycling, into the money that we use to pay for the single stream recycling. And I think that I wanted to give you an idea of, it looks like we're throwing more money into recycling, but I'm really saving more money than I'm throwing in if we look at it from a full cost accounting perspective. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear before we discussed that amendment. So do I have any questions on my report before I go into the next?
Mr. Chair, thank you. So Bishop, let me make sure I clearly understand. The pilot program that you started, that was your brainchild, correct?
Yes, sir.
Several months ago. So based on the numbers you just delivered to us, you are requiring much less travel trips to Waste Management's facility, right? Which has a lot of opportunity costs, less engine wear, less time, less personnel time on the road, wear and tear on machinery as well as roads, pay, less hours on the road, to a tune of approximately I think you said $27,000 savings, right?
For this month.
For this month alone. So this pilot program obviously seems to be working well. So do you need us to make this official and put this in real black and white, and it's no longer a pilot program? What is your next move?
So where we're at right now is I've received a proposal and a first round contract from Waste Management River Hills that is in Nick Christensen's care right now, where he's reviewing to make sure that it's everything. I'll say that I looked at it and it is less than we're paying. These values are based off of what we're paying was just basic gate rate. It's not a negotiated amount. The rate that we've seen in the proposal that they've given to us is less than the rate that we're currently, so our benefits will increase through this. There's another value that the citizens, that my department and the citizens of Rutherford County can also put into this as we continue to participate, and in particular, as our schools and some of the county buildings start to participate at a higher rate, not just with the cardboard and the paper, which they're commodities, they get recovered, but they don't have as higher returns as number one plastic, for example, has a really high return right now. Aluminum cans and tin cans, they have a nice return, and our rates on this new structured agreement, we get a better return, or we pay less based on the higher quality of the recycles that are audited within that single stream system. So the more aluminum, the more plastic number ones and number twos that we have in there, the better our overall bang for our buck is on it. And I'm seeing the citizens, in the time we've been doing this, they're getting more educated, they're getting better at it. Our overall rates are hovering in between the 12 to 13, 14% range, which is quite a bit higher than we've been in years past. And I think that as we go forward, we continue to educate the public on the importance of doing this, and they get more and more comfortable. Because right now I'm still have folks that are still getting used to throwing everything in one container, throwing it in the compactor and taking off. But I am getting a lot of positive feedback from citizens that are saying it's saving them a lot of time that they've been spending at the center. The wait times getting in and out of the centers are reducing dramatically across the county. And I've got trucks in the county that are able to service our waste collection activities in a lot. I'm more effective because I've got the trucks here instead of sending them back and forth to Nashville or other places that we've been sending them to recycle some of these commodities.
I'll just finish with a congratulations.
Mr. Chairman, what is the minimum diversion requirement by the state for us?
So for everything we're on a 25% diversion. So all diversion is included. We include the commercial activities. I get reports from commercial recyclers, Nissan, Pillsbury, et cetera. They give in voluntary reports. And nationwide, commercial recyclers are the bulk of recycling. Residential recycling rates in the state, in Tennessee, really are pretty poor. If you look, I mean, in most cases, around the 7.5% rate. Since we've implemented this here, we've done around the 8.5% to 9%, but now we're getting into that 12 to close to 14% range. So we're moving in the right direction residentially, but when you look at the total volume of tonnage that's created, we're approximately 50,000 tons of waste that we generate here versus the 450 that are generated within the county. The rest of that's generated within the county is done industrially, so naturally they're going to be the larger bulk of the recycling math, so to speak.
So the number you gave us, the 11.25, I knew was under what the state was requiring. So you're saying we're getting close to 12 now on our residential waste, but if you add the commercial, we're still over the 25% minimum?
Yeah, last year we were at 31%.
Well, I was going to say, can you give us that number on what we were this month, or how do you calculate that?
I only get the numbers from commercial activities one time a year during the annual reporting season. It begins in January and ends in March, and then there's a little bit of a wait till I get that report back from the state. Once I have that, I'd give you all an annual report of where we were at, and it's also combined with our other 3 counties in our multi-county region for their diversion, although I'll say that we carry the bulk of that, of course, because we have the most recycling industry here. But we're in the mix. We're at what's considered a top 5 county, so from population base. So we're doing really well, but we could always do better.
So the outside waste that's coming in from Davidson County, just for instance, does not count one way or the other toward our...
That's correct. That's correct. Davidson County's recycling is Davidson County's, and our recycling is ours. So it's only counted by what's generated within the county here.
Chairman,
Mr. Piercy.
early on in your report, I believe you quoted the school collection for the month was 500 and something ton.
Yes, sir. 504.03.
Is this pilot program that we're doing, is it working in the schools also, or just in our convenience centers?
I have not had any tangible effect that I can see through the schools. I have some schools that are participating quite well, but actually they were participating well before. I could definitely use with some more recycling participation from our school system.
How would you propose to do that?
That's a big question that I probably need a little time to think out. It's something I've been thinking about for some time. It's quite, I think education, a strong education program to the staff would be a good place to start. The students want to recycle, but they don't have a whole lot of control over what's going on there. And as we change as a county with the way that we manage our waste, which is coming quicker than we want it to happen, we're going to have to look at how can we maximize our recycling efforts in these areas where we're collecting this waste. I would like to see this number to be 350 tons from schools and 150 from recycling. I think that would be something that we could attain with an aggressive approach. But it would take the involvement of the school board and each individual school system to do their part. And we're willing to help them any way we can to educate them and get them set up so that we can be successful in this.
Okay, thank you. I have one other question, well, just a comment. Commissioner Dodd is the chairman of Health and Ed. Commissioner, you think maybe you could help us through the school board and mention that to see maybe something we could get started?
Yes, with Director Wagner's assistance, we could cover that topic. And I think sometimes in the past there's been some issues with recycling require different containers that custodians use, and recycling may require different containers in the yard. And sometimes we've not been willing to necessarily invest in those containers and otherwise. So there's been some efforts in the past, and I'll be glad to take it back up.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Bishop, refresh my memory. and I'm going to call it the Donna Barrett money, because it's really that board, $2 million or something like that. That was, I believe, a grant from the state for recycling. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Some of that was earmarked, if not all of it, was earmarked for some educational purposes, I think. Could we tap into some of that monies for that kind of purpose for the school board and educate, or purchase additional containers, or some kind of a training, mass media, some kind of a media blitz for training?
I sit on that board that
Right.
has received that money. I can bring that up as a motion for the board should the county wish that we visit that as an option. I know that it was for planning. I think the state's grant was for planning around issues related to the landfill located in Rutherford County.
Okay.
And so that's a pretty broad stroke deal in there. So I don't think that it being brought up in a board meeting would be out of the question.
Okay. I was thinking there was an educational arm to some of that money, so it never hurts to ask, and I'm happy to volunteer some time if something like that gets off the ground. So just let me know.
Thank you.
In the past, we actually had a person that went into the schools, and I think that funding came out of your department at that time. I think it did. I'm not sure. Are you aware of how that worked in the past?
I actually know the person that was doing that. When I was with the state, I worked with that person. I think that position was eliminated during the last administration from my department, and was changed to another position in another department.
Well, the reason I was asking is I thought that there was some money earmarked that had to go toward education tied to some of these funds that we were getting, and that's not the case.
I'll have to look into that, see if we are receiving any dollars that need to be earmarked for education and outreach. If we've got money there, I'm happy to I'm all about it.
I'll check with Michael too. We'll see, because I know in the past there were some monies that were tied to education that a certain amount had to be used for going into our schools. But
And Chairman P., the minutes from last month say that Solid Waste Planning Board for Solid Waste pilot program to maximize state, local, and regional alternative solid waste tools, plans, and goals for use and information. So that mission statement sounds like there's some opportunity there.
If that's the wishes of this committee, I'll be happy to take it to the board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One more question on your report before we go to approval. In the columns that are aluminum, cardboard, glass, metal, et cetera, where there's some monies returned, why is there no tonnage in the cardboard and paper? Are we taking that somewhere else?
It's all. Can I ask where you're looking?
It's the October report from 10/1 to 10/31. It's recycling, and it's the Rutherford County Solid Waste Cumulative Report Recycling.
Okay, everything, I see. Everything falls within that single stream category, so it's all commingled together in that, when you look down the column, single stream.
Yep.
Then that is your single stream total. There are some other, of course, we collect metal, bulk metal as a separate commodity, and glass is also accepted as a separate commodity. There are a couple anomalies in there with the newspaper and the plastic that I'm working with the office, the OIT office, to find out the crystal report that generates this report from the data that we enter. There's a little bit of weird math that's happening on some of those values. I think that when they get keyed into certain trucks, they get misaligned, and we're working on trying to get that one fixed out.
So what you're saying is the cardboard and paper is all lumped into the single stream. We haven't separated that out as a separate.
No, it's all going in the same.
Cardboard's a separate pile.
Yep.
Okay.
So at my centers, it's all compacted in a compactor box, or if it's collected from the front load trucks, it's all put in the same containers at the locations, and it's all put into the front load trucks as well. The rate that I'm seeing from the front load trucks, which are the ones that collect at the schools and collect at county government buildings, in sheriff's department and things of that nature, their commingling rate is so they're a lot more just cardboard and mixed office papers in those, whereas the rate of commingling that's happening at the centers, of course, because they're not recycling all those other things in individual containers, has increased. So I think something that we could definitely do is work on, doing a better job in county government and of throwing all of these commodities together in one container, so that when we get it, it's all commingled. Because cardboard isn't making much money in the market right now. It's pretty much a glut in the market. So if we've got metal and plastics that are returning higher, the returns that we get according to this agreement that's proposed will decrease the amount that we have to pay in tipping as we go. Let me be clear. We're ahead as things stand from the money that we're saving from logistical savings. This will help us increase that amount that we're ahead and hopefully increase the amount of participation that we receive. That answer your question?
Mr. James.
Bishop, I just wanted to say, from my perspective, thank you, because for spearheading this project, it looks like it's going to work out very well for us on several different items, several different avenues, as well as just being an overall wealth of knowledge as far as all things from your department and being able to bounce ideas back. And then, in addition, wanted to throw my thanks for the real-time communication about problems that might occur and so forth, so we are prepared to answer any questions and react accordingly as we know, instead of being caught blindly on some issues. So for that, I just wanted to show my appreciation for kind of, in my perspective, going above and beyond. So I want to personally just say thank you for that, for this. And then I'd like to move to approve his report.
We have a motion and a second to approve the report. Further discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
So I have 3 items. There are 2 listed here, and I have the amendment that's on your iPads. Let's start with the budget amendment that's listed here. What I'm proposing is we move $100,000 from the line 55732-718, which was the motor vehicle line that I purchased the front load truck on. We got a better deal than anticipated on the truck, so there was some money left over in that account. I'd like to move that over into the 55739-399, which is other contracted services. That is the fund by which we pay for our recycling activities.
We have a motion and a second to approve budget request. Call the roll.
Commissioner Cush?
Aye.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passed.
The next item is labeled A on the agenda. This is the 2023 annual inflation adjustment for financial assurance of the Rutherford County landfills. The DML is our class 3 and the SNL is the class 1 that's in post-closure. The state requires that we maintain, and I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to say it's similar to a bond that we hold with the state, saying that should there be anything that happens with the landfill, we have this amount of monies that we'll be able to tap into to remediate said issues. And the state sets this value based on what the cost is for remediation and activities statewide. And they provided this letter, and we're kind of on the back foot on this because they had been sending it to the old director's email address, and I didn't receive it until just recently. Typically, we would have gotten this at the beginning of the fiscal year. So they're anxious to get us to process this. This will mean there's no money that comes out of a budget on this. This is just saying that they're adjusting it for us. And I'm sure I've hacked that up pretty good. And if you have any further questions about it, our finance director is in the room if we need any more specific answers.
We do this every couple of years, as I recall, right? Okay.
It should happen every year, but it hasn't. It didn't happen because we weren't getting I wasn't getting the memo.
Typically, this would reduce over time. Is that correct?
So it's based on inflation. So I think that the post-closure, the SNL does go down, and the class 3 has gone up a tick.
Well, it seems like I heard that the state got hung, some county faulted, and they ended up having to pay it instead of the county. So I've heard that they have upped our cost. Is that what you have heard also, or?
Yes, it's happened statewide. They came and threw and adjusted just about every landfill in the state up.
So what was this last year versus this year?
That's a good question may Michael come up to the?
Michael, you can come on up.
This year, the adjustment was 7.3. Last year, I believe it was right around 4% or a little over 4%. So it did go up this year. It didn't quite double, but it was pretty close. And just to reiterate what Bishop said, this is in lieu of a bond. So if we don't do this, then we're required by state law to go get a bond and pay for that. And so we always recommend this. We hold money in our fund balance to cover this. Bishop is correct. We don't pay anything. It's just saying, hey, if we have to remediate this, Rutherford County's, in lieu of going to get a bond, we're going to reserve money in our own savings instead of paying for a bond issue every year. And this would be something that should come before you every year. And we were looking for this year, and Bishop was correct. It was going to an old email address that we didn't have access to. So.
Thank you. For a motion?
I would make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll.
Commissioner P.,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Cush,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Aye.
The final item that I have is listed item B. It's a company called Motive Technologies. Motive Technologies came with telematics, responded to an RFP for telematics and fleet management. We've been dealing with a pilot with them for right at a year now. What it is are front and rear facing cameras that also give information on my vehicle maintenance warnings. It gives me a list of fuel economy. I can real-time locate and visualize my drivers out in the fleet, and it's proven to be in test a very powerful tool for us to be able to maximize our efficiencies and to turn the knobs even a little bit tighter on making sure that we're sending drivers where they need to go at the time they need to go in this dynamic environment while maintaining safety, the highest levels of safety, and keeping a thumb on what the maintenance needs are of our fleet. They had a very decent proposal that they came back, RFP that was approved in purchasing committee, and the contract has been forwarded on to Nick Christensen, for the county attorney, for review. And as far as I know, everything's looking pretty good on that, and it may be ready to sign. But I wanted to take the time to mention this to you, that it's coming on, and answer any questions that you might have about this technology.
Mr. Cush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bishop, does this technology give you in-cab as well as outside of cab readings?
Yes, sir.
Real time, so traffic accidents, you have the data, so you could quickly see if it was whose fault it was, what the accident was, or if there was a medical emergency in the cab. That is all part of the package.
So I have an example.
Okay.
I've had it been, for a year it's been tested in 2 vehicles that we've had. In one of the 2 vehicles that it was in, the driver had pulled onto Republic's land, was getting ready to hit the scale. And then I got called, there was an accident. So we reviewed, we contacted the company. It's a matter of just sending them an email. They've got 24-hour support. Within 10 minutes, I'm looking at the imagery from the incident. I was warned that the incident happened on my email because it said hard braking. So I fast forward. My first thing was the driver negligent? Was there something that I need to know before I go down there to investigate it? Sure enough, I saw the driver he was doing his job. He was reaching over to grab his clipboard. He had taken his foot off the brake a bit, and he rolled ever so slowly into the vehicle in front of him. And you can also see the vehicle. You can switch between the cameras. You can see the vehicle getting closer and closer, and then you could see the air conditioner get hit, and the fumes come up from that. But I was able to review that to see that, hey, the driver wasn't on his phone or doing anything that would have been out of the ordinary. It was just a normal negligent act, but it was a coachable act too. So we brought him in, and I had a conversation with him, showed him the video, and was like, what could we have done differently here? And we kind of take it from that. The thing that was interesting to me was how quickly that we got the data back, that I received it multiple ways. It was first from hard braking, then I got the warning from the truck telling me that there was an issue with the truck that needed to be looked at. So yes, it's something that it's pretty standard to have technology like this in commercial fleets, and I know we're a public entity, but we operate like a commercial fleet out there. We're logging a lot of miles, and I think it's one more layer of accountability for my drivers, and an option for us to make sure that we're being as efficient as we can as we're going. I get fuel mileage reports. I get idle time reports. I can geofence around locations like our convenience center, so I know when a truck leaves Middle Point, I know how long it takes for them to get to Middle Point to get to the convenience center, and how long it takes for them to get back, and I can pull those reports at any time to be able to review performance amongst my staff. And as you all know about me by now, I like to take those Excel spreadsheets, and I like to play with those numbers to try to find out where I can find the statistical efficiencies and maximize them, so that we can make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck in collection.
Bishop, I'm not seeing the cost of this technology. Is it coming later? I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It was around $30,000 for a 3-year contract. It was approximately $10,000 or $11,000 per year. I had budgeted already for this. It was in my budget for this year. All right. And this will equip for each vehicle?
For every vehicle in the fleet.
Thank you.
Mr. James.
Uh-oh, Carl, we got telematics. Yes, Dr. Carl. Okay. Carl and I have some experience with this program. I'd move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the terms of the service. Second. You have a second. Further discussion? Do a roll call.
I got a question before we vote, if you don't mind. This is a 3-year contract. Of course,
yes, sir.
Being on purchasing, I've heard this. How are we going to evaluate the savings on this? Or will there be a time we'll review and say, hey, this is worth this amount of money, or it's not? Or how would we go about evaluating that?
I think that's an excellent question. What my plan is on it is to take a baseline, which we've been developing, of course, since the time I've been here, with what our costs are, particularly in our maintenance cost. I think that's a good place to start. There are some other values that are there, employee retention, discipline actions that we've had to take on employees for not following the rules of the road and things of that nature, safety issues. But from a fuel mileage and idling, I can get numbers immediately. So this is something I could probably get together. I think it's dependent upon how appropriate it would be, how often a year it would be for you to get numbers on how this is working. But I think, maybe every 6-month snapshot would be appropriate, or a yearly. I'm happy to do that either way. I think I'll have enough data to be able to calculate it and get it to you that way.
That's what I'm looking for. So 6 months. And you've done this pilot for how long?
We've been using that on 2 trucks for right around a year. That was all free of charge from them for me to see. And I want to also add that from the beginning of this, I've had Cody York and the OIT department in on it, because there is a cyber warfare concern about, how safe are these systems, and he vetted these systems out, and they are safe with the things that the county uses, and he gave the stamp of approval on it for us to go forward with as well.
Further discussion?
Only other thing I'll mention, this thing does have a camera on the front of the truck. It does not have one on the back. Only problem I've ever had, besides hitting one with a golf ball from the VA over there, is driving down the road and stuff falling out of the trucks onto the road in front of me. I don't know if there's a way they can pick up some kind of rear view, but I think that might save us on liability if we actually have something falling out of the trucks. Now, the truck that dumped stuff in front of me was actually Murfreesboro City. It wasn't ours, but I've seen that happen.
On the roll-off containers, because they're interchangeable boxes, that would be a near impossibility. However, if somebody were to see something and report and make a call into the solid waste department saying, hey, this truck and this has happened since I've been here, where something has fallen off the back of a truck, and I've gotten a report from a citizen. The next thing is I have to figure out, is this for my truck, or is this for someone? This has GPS location, so if they have the time of day and the location that it happens, I can pinpoint this was our vehicle or it wasn't our vehicle, which would remove us from that liability. We weren't there. And then I can pull the video at that time and look from a period of time. Let's say they pull out of Las Casas Convenience Center, and the citizen saying they were on Las Casas Highway and they had this item in there. I can look and see if there was any reaction from the driver during that period of time as well, if they knew about it or they didn't know about it. Because it does look forward, and it looks at the driver's reaction too. And a lot of times, I didn't think that inside camera when we started doing this test was going to be a very big asset. I've found that it is one of the best tools that's in this, because you can see if it'll tell me if they're drifting out of a lane, or if they're stopping. You can see if they're distracted, if they're doing something, and anytime we can see that, it gives me an opportunity to call that person in and have a coaching session, and to hopefully avoid an injury or a death, because let's face it, we're dealing with 60,000-pound trucks out there moving around all these citizens. It's something that there are a lot of things that keep me up at night, but that's one of the things that definitely does.
More discussion? Call a roll.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Cush?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd? Yes. Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes.
There are no other questions?
Can you give us an update on our transfer station progress?
Our transfer station progress is coming along rather well. The site engineering documents are close, and we anticipate being able to advertise them very quickly. I spoke with the mayor today on dates, and he's offered up to say he's happy to take any questions that he has directly in his office about what those dates are looking like. But I saw the last set of plans that I saw looked very nice. We're getting close. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Bishop, sorry. I know we had a few hiccups this week, but all of our convenience centers up and running now?
I was hoping you weren't going to mention hiccups. Yes. Yes, they are. We have had some issues with power at both Haley Road and at Christiana Fosterville. I had a fire at Christiana Fosterville in the building. We believe it was electrical related, although there's no official report that says so. It's just conjecture at this point. And Christiana Fosterville has been a bit of a problem child because we had some of the wiring that got burnt was causing us to trip some breakers, and it burned up a motor, and we had to replace it, and then we had to replace the starter, so it's been kind of on again, off again. But I was there myself this afternoon, and I believe we've remedied it to where it'll be operational for some time. And I'm working with the city on Haley Road with a future going forward with possibly, because I've been dealing with trying to turn single-phase power into three-phase power for the compactor that we have out there. And I'm talking with them now at MTE about what my steps will be to turn that into a three-phase system so that we can have more direct and power out there to it. So.
G Street, how are we looking on that?
Oh, okay. So thank you. I'm also building a couple convenience centers on it. The G Street Convenience Center is looking really good. I'm setting up compactors and staging boxes out there. We're kind of in a spot where I'm training some new drivers. We're about up to full staff on our drivers, but all my drivers are out training. So getting drivers to bring the stuff out there and then getting the electricians to hook all of those boxes up and get us going are coming along. I'm pushing real hard to have that done now. We're also, Leanna's wrapping up and getting its finishing touches on it to be fully landscaped and open and ready for business. And I have a paving item that's going on at the Rockvale Center and there's some road construction stuff with stop signs that we're talking with the highway department on, trying to get some items passed through the road board and reviewed by the road board to see if they're going to happen before we're ready to go full bore on that. But I'm optimistic that we'll have Leanna and G Street open by and operational by Thanksgiving holiday, and I would love to have Rockville open before the Christmas holiday.
Notice Weekly Road seems to be running a lot more efficiently, but this G Street is going to make a tremendous difference as far as our recycling and all.
I'm extremely excited about getting the G Street Center up, and we're just calling it G Street Center because we don't have another name. So I think we would entertain the idea of a name at some point from this committee as well, if some of the Smyrna commissioners wanted to think about that. And I'll be in contact with you all as well and let you know through email when we are going to officially open that up so that folks can attend that. And it's been a pretty big deal for solid waste, and we'd like you to participate in that.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Have any other business? No? Mr. James?
With it coming Saturday, I just wanted to make sure we mentioned before you adjourn and wish all our veterans and currently serving members a happy Veterans Day.
Yes, sir. I want to extend a huge thank you to all of our veterans. the courthouse is colored green for Operation Green Light. So that's for the veterans. So can't say enough about how thankful we are for all of our veterans. Anything else? Adjourned.